The doctors.
No, look.
Alex? You should answer.
Are you sure? Are you gonna be okay?
Ask me again and I'll slap you. Of course I'll be okay. You're coming right back, aren't you?
You bet I am, little sis. I don't know what would have happened between your dad and I if you were still here. Would we have agreed on how to raise you, the kind of values to impart? Respect others, be curious and open-minded, and try to beautify the world. At your age, that mostly meant avoid picking your nose in public. I don't think we would have had any trouble getting along in the end. We were on the same wavelength. I trusted him 100% from the first day I met him. He's got that little something in his eyes. This uncanny kindness that's always there.
God damn it, Junon.
Okay, pretend I didn't say anything, huh? Hello, Alex. How are you doing, Alex? Oh, I'm so glad to hear from you, Alex.
Did you take it?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I know exactly what he's talking about. I just have no desire to talk about it right now.
The house. Astrid's dollhouse. It used to be in my office and now it isn't. And I need it for work. I'm using it as a reference for level design.
Can I call you later? Hold on, where am I right now? I guess I wandered into a decommissioned part of the hospital. Ooh, it's kind of spooky.
No, you cannot call me later. It's easy. Just tell me if you have it. It will take 2 seconds.
Your dad is getting on my nerves. I'm sorry, but it's true. All right, Alex, listen. Okay, come on, keep your cool. Try and be mindful. I have no idea where that house is. And since we're talking about last week, actually, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have showed up unannounced. I don't know what came over me.
What does that mean? Wasn't it nice to see each other again?
You and I never got to talk about some stuff. The birds and bees, how grown-ups cuddle. Although we did have the chance. But I was never comfortable with the idea. Marie wasn't a fan of mother-daughter conversations. When I had my first period, do you know what she told me? Just make sure you don't stain the couch. So, I guess as a result, I'm not too good with personal matters either. But still, I have a fond memory of that moment. I had become a woman, just like her. It was astonishing, almost an animalistic feeling. I felt strong, powerful. It was very nice. But it was also completely stupid.
Don't say that. Why are you saying that?
You know why. We can't be doing this. Things are different between us now.
They don't have to be. Things could even be better.
Stop it.
You know I'm right. Deep down you know it. Everything that happened to us, it helped us. There was a reason. Maybe all of this means we are supposed to come back together. Stronger.
Bullshit.
Why?
What about Pauline?
Pauline is great. I'll talk to her. It will be hard, but she'll understand.
What will she understand? That your crazy ex has suddenly decided to return after dumping you, after she killed your...
Don't even go there.
That's a really stupid idea, Alex. People don't change. And you know how I am.
I do. I've known since day one.
We met in high school, as juniors. It feels like a lifetime ago. We only had one class in common. Film studies. And we had completely opposite tastes. But I immediately liked something about him. His high-speed internet. Hey, back in the day, it was a precious gift. Especially in our podunk town. All of a sudden, you could pirate movies from all over the world. A dream. Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Piracy kills, blah, blah, blah. But that's only for the rich. When you're 16, you're poor. So, it's okay. We spent hours on end in Alex's bedroom. I'm sure his parents thought we were having sex. Alex made an attempt once, but I wasn't interested at all at the time. I think that it scared me. Your dad didn't insist. That's one thing I like about him. Even as a teen, he was much less stupid than most guys. We watched tons of movies, lying on his bed, chomping on candy. I was obsessed with film. It felt like discovering a new world. And when I requested a boring 3-hour movie, the next day, we would play a video game. Actually, it's not as lame as it sounds, I promise.
Don't you think about it? Don't you miss it? Don't you want everything to be just like before?
I think... Yes, I think I do.
It's not too late.
You really think so?
I know so.
I'm on my way then.
Like, now?
Yes? Shouldn't I?
Yes. Yes, come over.
Wait for me, I'm coming. After all, why not? Maybe he's right. Maybe I was just wrong about all this. That wouldn't be the first time I screwed up. The three of us were so happy together. Maybe Alex and I can still be happy? You know, my little fawn, in life, you only have two ways out. Either escaping or disappearing. But sometimes, you're unable to disappear. And escaping from yourself, well, that sure ain't easy. So, when that happens, in your opinion, what's left to do? We can try to find out together if you want. When Diane and I were little, Mary would tell us bedtime stories. She would make up animal fables with all kinds of mystery and conflict. Savage world, she called it. Female wolves, bears, or scorpions would find themselves in imminent danger, but they could always manage it on their own, swindling and betraying the boorish, idiotic males. Mary wanted us to be strong, courageous, and independent women, except it also made me a bit fearful of the world. Alex gifted me most of these books. It started as a joke, but as time passed, there were more and more. It goes back to the film studies days in high school. We barely knew one another. The teacher had prompted us to write a few scenes from a comedy, and I couldn't do it. And then one morning, your dad gave me a book and told me, check this out since you're so not funny. It made me laugh. And, well, truth be told, I was charmed. that he cared about me. So I read his dumb book, and believe it or not, the next few scenes I wrote were really funny. But then it turned into a habit. Every time I had an issue, Alex would find the book to address it. Some of the worst titles, too. How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, Who Moved My Cheese? I was reading them casually, but they still helped me move on. Alex would call it the emergency library. Every problem has a book, he said. But when I found myself alone, the library didn't work anymore. At first, I stayed in the apartment for days. I wouldn't go outside. I barely recognized my own voice when I opened the door for food deliveries. I could have disappeared. No one would have known. Yet, amid the silence, if you listen carefully, you can hear some things. The air traveling through the lungs, the bowels gurgling, the teeth grinding, even a heart beating. That much is clear now. In fact, Alex and Marie are like two sides of the same coin for me. Alex was my crutch, my unwavering support. I came to believe that I would crumble without him. Marie was a model of strength, of courage, and determination. Everyone admires her, but she is completely unattainable. And I was dependent on her as much as him. Unable to manage on my own, but that was before. I guess you understand now, my little fawn. Your dad and I separated, and for the first time in my life, I was living alone. At 34 years old, I had no idea how to do that. And he didn't fix everything. But come to think of it, it may be the reason I began looking for who I really was. I lived surrounded with cardboard boxes for months. I was unable to open them. It was physically impossible, but it didn't bother me much. I've never been a homemaker anyway. Also, if I had an off day, I could always blame it on those boxes. Instead of blame it on the life that was put away in those boxes. I think I just figured out why I love movies so much. When I was a teenager, my life didn't seem real. I couldn't say for sure that I existed, but in movies, people had pure and intense emotions. I loved that. Any fiction was a documentary to me. When I found myself alone, I fell back into that zone. I watched hundreds of movies, obscure comedies, blockbusters, absurd schlock. I was looking for a template that would explain to me how to feel. Except it didn't work this time. I needed more. From the day you died, I had been sleeping a lot. I was still tired when I woke up, but at least it passed the time. Then everything changed. Sleeplessness kicked in. I spent my nights trying to understand, what am I still doing here? Do you remember this cup? Every morning you would drink your hot cocoa from it. I had to take it out of the dishwasher so many times. You wanted nothing else. It was in a box for a while. I thought about it, sometimes when I thought about you. It was there. One day I pulled it out of one of the boxes. I wanted a hot cocoa, and it slipped out of my hands. My heart skipped a beat in that moment. I held my breath for 1 second. And then... nothing. I just picked up the pieces one by one and threw them in the garbage. I wondered whether I was a monster for not feeling devastated. But now I know that I'm not. I stayed strong. And it turns out that being able to do that changed everything. That day I realized that I was strong, and that I could do it, alone. Then I understood. I turned on my computer and I started typing. Not a soap opera episode, like I was writing before you died. It was something personal, and I think it was important. A movie script. A beautiful, kind of sad story. It could be a nice feature if I ever finish it one day. I was surprised to feel the desire to write, but now I understand how priceless it was. It allowed me to switch roles. I was no longer the grieving mother, or the young divorcee, or the daughter of. I was writing. I was becoming an author. I was inventing a reality that was just as valid as another. You know, I was telling the truth earlier when I said that there were only two ways out in life. But whether you escape or disappear, in the end you're doing the same thing. Now I understand that I had to find another way. And complete solitude allowed me to face the void. And to rewrite myself. It was the only way for me to change completely. From the ground up.
Don't you want everything to be just like before?
Alex and I can reinvent ourselves. I know that we can. But that's going to require a lot more work. I would love for things to work out that way, Alex. Just like in the movies. But the scene when they get back together, the happy end, we all know that's not happening. Too bad. You're at least as sexy as Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, and I definitely have better abs.
I noticed that the other day. Is that new?
See? You're missing out.
I'm sorry things ended the way they did between us. I left because I was losing my bearings. And I felt like you were also going off track. You know, trying to convince us that we would be okay.
I was trying to help you.
That's the problem. You couldn't have. I was too sad. I was unable to listen. I couldn't keep leaning so much on you. I couldn't stand it. I had reached a breaking point. If I didn't make a big change, I would have... But I was not allowed to die. I had no right. So I tried living. All the people who matter to me have something in common. They all taught me that I could live without someone else. Marie taught me that I could live without a father. That I could exist as a woman in a world created for men. But she never taught me what it was like to be loved. Alex taught me that I could live without Marie. All of a sudden, I was worth more than I thought, and she much less than I thought. But what he loved the most about me was that he could be there for me. I don't hold it against him. We are who we are. He loved me, but he didn't help me love myself. And then You were there. And you taught me the most important thing. You taught me that I could live, even without Marie, even without Alex, even without you. Without you.
You know, I changed too.
I believe you, Alex.
So don't you think it may be a good time to try again?
We can't try again if we're strangers to each other.
Wow. That's a Nobel Wisdom Prize right there.
That's not even a thing.
Exactly.
You know... Oh, I don't know if I should tell him this, but... I will always love you. And oftentimes I think to myself that we could start something new. We'd hop in the car and road trip through Ardèche. I would take off my flip-flops and rest my bare feet on the dashboard. And you would yell at me because that's nasty.
That is definitely nasty.
Oh, nastier than your damn Tupperware up in the fridge?
Nastier than your clumps of hair in the bathroom sink?
Probably not. But then I realized that all of these are memories. Some are good, many are, but some are dreadful. Those memories with you, they're too much to handle. Which means I don't have a choice. I have to leave it all behind. You understand?
Then, what about last week?
Look, Alex, I don't want to hurt him, but... I'm going to hang up now. I blew off Jan to pick up the phone, thinking this was an emergency.
But it is an emergency. I'm sure Diane will understand.
Alex, you don't know.
Fine. The one time I need your help...
Oh, poor guy. He's about to feel very bad about this. Oh well, that was his dumb choice. Alex, I'm at the hospital.
Oh shit. Are you okay? What happened? Or was it Diane?
Don't worry, I'm fine, and so is your dear Diane. It's my mother. She had...
Oh.
I should be happy that he's relieved, but man, that's harsh. But let's be honest, Alex has never been too keen on her anyway. Do you want to know how he described her? The mug of a James Bond villain, the personality of a public restroom, and the pictorial style of a drunken tardigrade. I'm sure he thought that she was being unfair to me, and that annoyed him. So he avoided her as much as possible. The worst part is that she loved him, but he could see right through her. She understood very quickly that he would not treat her with kid gloves. And she appreciated that, because she loved fighting. Alex didn't like that I wasn't as critical of Marie as he was. He probably thought that I was a bit masochistic. I wasn't. It's just that I'm her daughter, and she's my only mother. Alex, this is my mother we're talking about. I mean, sure, this is Marie, but still.
What happened to Our Lady of the Paintbrush? I know it wasn't her heart. She doesn't have one.
That doesn't sound like Alex. Not at all. What's happening to him? Is he drunk? It's a bit early to start drinking. Should I be worried? Or perhaps I shouldn't say anything. It's not funny, Alex. It's not funny. It's actually pretty insensitive, which is not like you. Are you okay?
Come on. It's just a joke.
Except nothing is ever just a joke.
Anyway, what do you care if I'm okay?
I mean, I care about you, and
Oh, sorry. Are you doing a stand-up routine now? Hopefully that works out better than movies did.
Right, I don't know what's going on, but I have no time for this, okay? So I'm just gonna hang up now.
Yeah, you hang up. You can call me anytime, day or night, even show up at my house unannounced. I'm here, no worries. But if it's the reverse, I can go right onto hell.
That's unfair, Alex. I don't...
Unfair? Really? Have I ever not been there for you?
What is that supposed to mean? Are we keeping score? That's news to me. I never asked you to be there. I don't owe you a thing, okay? Just call Pauline if you're looking for comfort.
That's too easy, Junon. Giving up on me now that you no longer need me.
Alex, it's been almost 2 years.
What if I had done that to you when Astrid died?
Oh, go fuck yourself, Alex. What a dumbass! How dare he bring you up in the middle of all this? He never forgave me for what happened, but he's too cowardly to tell it to my face. He's right, though. I don't know how I would have managed if he weren't there when you... And on top of that, I hold him responsible. I guess I'm an ungrateful bitch, huh? Oh, Of all the stories I know, this is probably the least funny one. Although it's not like any of these has been particularly fun so far. But sometimes, well, thinking back about darker things does help shine a light on them. And actually, I think this one ends well, all right? I'll tell you this story. Alex was a great dad who took good care of his child. He showered her, cooked her food, invented games for her. Anytime the little girl was home, his deep laughter would shake the house's walls. And then, one day, Alex no longer feels like laughing. Astrid was both a little girl and a very big girl. When she turned 4, she decided she would brush her own teeth. She was so eager to grow up. And then one day, Astrid disappears. Junon was a mom who had made a huge mistake. She had bruises everywhere, a broken arm, her skull was split. It wasn't a pretty sight, but Alex didn't mind and still took care of her. Junon was quite sure that she didn't deserve it. And then one day, she gets better. Marie was a grandmother who was often angry. As a result, she and Junon did not talk much. It was too exhausting. And then one day, Marie calls. Time passes, and Junon's body fixes itself. The bones heal, the bruises fade. Doctors call it a miracle. Junon doesn't agree. But these doctors are no good anyway. They didn't even notice that Junon's heart is strewn all around. Time passes, but a big little girl doesn't just disappear. She leaves toys and drawings lying around, and all kinds of fist-sized marks, like tiny little clenched fists punching holes into Junon's heart. Time passes, and the phone rings. Again, and again, and again. Junon doesn't know what Marie wants, but she can guess. Marie was there when Junon made her big mistake. And if Junon picks up, they'll have to talk about it. Junon can't forgive herself. So the phone rings, and nobody answers. Time passes, and Alex is still standing. He misses his daughter. He misses laughing, too. But he doesn't show it. He's taking care of everything. He cleans up, he cooks, he washes. He wants people to know that he won't crumble down. Marie keeps on calling. When the accident happened, Marie knocked her head. She looks like she's better now, but Junon is still thinking that she almost killed her. Her too, she might add, so she's not picking up. One day, Alex puts away every hint of Astrid into a big box. The apartment seems a bit empty all of a sudden. But it is what it is. And Alex isn't crying. Alex wants to rescue Junon from her sadness, wash her hair, cut her nails, spoon-feed her. He wants to be the guy you can rely on, to walk back home when you're tired. But today, Junon is not walking back. Junon doesn't want to be saved. Not by Alex. Not by anyone. She puts her finger through the candle flame to feel the bite. She wants to hurt. Just like that time. Broken bones and ripped up flesh. She's angry that her heart is still beating. And then one day... Are you sure you want to know the rest of the story, my little fawn? I hadn't prepared anything. I was just going to wash up. I had closed the door, taken off my clothes, turned on the shower, and I started crying. I couldn't stop. I couldn't go on. I had medicine for my broken heart. And I decided to swallow it all. Your toothbrush was on the edge of the bathroom sink, which made me think of my very big little girl. Her smile full of toothpaste. I thought that maybe I too could give it a try, but I had forgotten how to. I put those little pills in my mouth, and they tasted funny on my tongue. I just needed to swallow them. And right at that moment, the phone started ringing. Marie didn't ask me why I didn't answer the phone for a whole year. She started talking as if nothing happened. I was crying too much, I couldn't answer. So she told me she could wait. And she waited until the last tear was shed. And then she told me something she had never told me. Perhaps one day I can tell you exactly what it was. But, long story short, it meant she loved us very much, you and I. In that moment, I felt like an enormous weight was lifted off of my shoulders, as if she had given me the most beautiful gift. And then she changed the subject, as she does. She had a proposal for me. Her career was taking off, and she needed someone to do the clerical work. She knew I would do it well. She told me, "It's a boring job. I'm not doing you any favors, but you can do me one." I accepted. Alex never learned what really happened that day. He panicked because he could no longer hear me, so he broke the door. But he was too late. It was all over already. That's it, my little fawn. That's the end of my story. If it weren't for Marie, I wouldn't be here to tell you, because she gave me more than words that day. She helped me understand that it was time I made my own decisions. That's the thing I figured out that night. And it changed me for the better. I would no longer rely on others to save me. Not on Marie, not Alex, not anyone else. I couldn't live like that. Not anymore.
Have I ever not been there for you?
He didn't actually understand. He didn't get the dynamic we had and what it did to us. And me neither, actually. Up until today, I lived some sort of a misunderstanding. But it's over. It's true. You were there. Not just when we lost Astrid, you've always been there. I knew that whatever happened, you'd be there. It's not easy to explain why you fall in love with someone. There was no love at first sight between your father and I. We even lost touch after high school. And still. One night, we went out on a date, and I immediately knew that it would last. There was something in his eyes. When he looked at me, I felt like he saw something invisible. Something wonderful. Something valuable. I couldn't believe, in fact, he was looking at me. I was really anxious at the time about everything. But when I woke up at his place the next day, for a brief moment, the oppressive feeling had disappeared. It happened again when I saw him the next day, and the day after, and then after that, every time we met. In spite of the distance, I felt like I was taking drugs, and it was really good. And I loved it. I didn't have that growing up with Marie. I felt like you believed in me. You're the only one who made me feel this way. You and Astrid. Yes, you too, my little dear.
I believe in you.
I know. Being with you was a gift. But it had to stop.
After Astrid died.
You see my little phone? Even when you're gone, you're never very far. Even before, I was just letting you lead me around. When Astrid died, I did what I always do. I leaned on you. You would have the answer. You would know what to do. But now, though, I understand. This whole time, your poor dad was fishing out corpses. Not literally. Don't worry, I'm not going crazy. It's just, it reminds me of this story I read while doing research for a screenplay. The story of a guy named Wei Peng, a farmer in the Yellow River Valley who found himself a unique occupation. His cabin is 20 kilometers downstream from Lanzhou, an industrial city that attracts poor folks looking for work. And their life is so terrible that a bunch of them are committing suicide. Lanzhou is mostly known for its thermal plants, its factories, and the highest level of atmospheric pollution in all of China. That said, there are cities like Lanzhou all around the world. Every morning, Wei Peng grabs his pitchfork, pops into his small boat, and he searches the river. He's looking for bulky and soft lumps. Most of the time, they're goat carcasses. But every now and then, he finds humans. When Wei Peng manages to identify the body, he sells it. Otherwise, he buries it. Between 500 and 5,000 yuan, depending on the client. I understood why people paid him. It's a horrible feeling not knowing what happened to a loved one. They were purchasing more than a mortal coil. They were purchasing peace of mind. But I didn't get why Wei Peng did it. How can you live with this job? Then I reached the end of the article. His own child died in that river. A kid your age, trying to retrieve a ball in the water. Wei Peng didn't know how to swim. He couldn't do anything. And now I understand Wei Peng. Just as I understand Alex. Some people find it easier to alleviate other people's grief than to deal with their own pain head-on. Maybe that worked for you, being in that position. As long as you were taking care of me, you wouldn't have to think about yourself. Or about Astrid.
Maybe I never thought about it that way.
Me neither, you know, I only understand this now.
Okay, then. Why? If I thought I was helping you, but actually hurting, why did you come back to see me?
I really shouldn't have. I don't know what came over me.
I was happy to see you again.
Of course, I liked it too. But it also felt like a farewell. That's besides the point. I don't know why I did what I did. I don't even know why I went to your house.
Because you wanted to see me.
It's true. I'm telling you, I have no idea why I went. Maybe it was out of habit? I think that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with Alex. His way of figuring stuff out has always fascinated me. I couldn't figure out a character's story arc. He figured it out. I couldn't get in touch with producers. He figured it out. I couldn't live without you. He figured it out. I believe that's why I went to see him last week. So he could figure it out for me. Except I didn't even know what my problem was on that day. If only it were that simple. Anyway, it was really stupid, and I probably hurt you.
Come on, June, stop that. Last week you were happy. For the first time since I can remember.
What would you know? We haven't seen each other in months.
That is true. And it wasn't my call. You're the one who left. And I respected your choice. I learned how to live without you. And you showed up on my doorstep out of fucking nowhere? What am I supposed to think?
Yeah, he's totally right about that. I'm sorry, Alex. I truly am. I know you're angry and...
I'm not angry.
But I was in a bad place. I didn't know what to do. I needed to see someone.
Why not your sister then? Or call a girlfriend? Even your mother, for that matter. You came to see me because I know what you are feeling. I understand your pain. Don't you think?
No, I don't think so. You don't understand anything. Well, if you really understand, then why do I... Why the hell do I feel so alone? No one can understand what I feel, ever. No one can tell me how to live with this, how to do this. It's a gaping hole in my